section is all about the diagnosis of Duchenne muscular dystrophy. Improving the experience for families around the diagnosis pathway is something here at Action Duchenne we're passionate about. In these videos, we're going to try and break down a few of the key elements of the diagnosis and go through the science behind it, ultimately explaining why they're doing what they're doing. As with all of these videos, contact details are available at the end or in the description below. Thank you.
So, Maureen, we have already discussed the clinical signs and diagnosis in the previous videos. And so I would like to ask a question and discuss another topic. So what diagnostic tests do you think are essential to confirm the diagnosis? Because I know that clinical signs don't confirm the diagnosis. Once we can suspect Duchenne muscular dystrophy based on Goer's sign or abnormal walking, but we need to confirm it. So what tests do you think we should discuss?
Yeah, absolutely. That is correct, because the clinical kind of observation and the strength tests and the CK level in the blood, they just indicate that there's something wrong with the muscles, for example, they're damaged. However, we need to kind of narrow it down to what actual condition it is that's causing that. So for that, we utilize this technique, which is genetic testing, which plays a very pivotal role in confirming the actual diagnosis of Duchenne muscular dystrophy.
Yes, absolutely. And once the causative mutation has been identified, it is very important for mother to go and check whether she is the carrier. And even more, if the mother is confirmed the carrier, her mother and sisters and even maternal aunts should go and get tested, and possibly they can be offered counseling. So mothers who are carriers, they have 50% chance to have an affected son and a daughter who will be a carrier. So also notably, mothers who are not carriers, they have risk up to 14% of having another child with Duchenne muscular dystrophy. And it's all happening due to germline mosaicism. It's a very... yeah, please go ahead.
Well, I was saying that's very interesting. And I think, there is not one cause of Duchenne muscular dystrophy. We can discuss that in a later video, but you could be a carrier, you could carry it in the eggs before you're even mother's eggs, or it could be just spontaneous, for example. So yeah, absolutely, and we should surely discuss that at a later stage in detail as well. But what you've said is absolutely really interesting. Once you have found a mutation at a genetic level, the family does need to be tested in terms of the mum, the sisters, the aunts, just to ensure whether they are carriers or not, so they can be given the right sort of support as well. But we primarily focus on identifying mutations through genetic testing, and what we can identify are different types of mutations. We can identify sort of deletions, insertions, we can identify smaller mutations like point mutations, and these are very, very important to confirm the diagnosis of Duchenne muscular dystrophy.
Yeah, that totally makes sense. And we know that some mutations are more common than the other mutations. So what percentage of Duchenne cases are caused by single or multi-exon deletions or duplications?
Yeah, so again, we're talking about literally different types of mutations, but if we mainly focus on sort of single exon or multi-exon deletion or duplications, we're looking at approximately 70% of Duchenne muscular dystrophy cases are caused by these type of deletions or duplications, and it is again something that we can detect through these very specialized sort of genetic testing techniques.
Yeah, exactly. And we can get the full characteristics of the mutation and see the exact location of the point mutation. And later it helps us to determine the impact of this mutation on the reading frame of the gene. It also plays a very important role in assessing the eligibility for mutation-specific treatments, especially the ones that are currently going through the clinical trials.
Absolutely. And I think, yeah, this is why we're mainly doing it, really understand. It's like, there is we will talk about it, but dystrophin recipe manual, or the gene is the longest gene in the body. And anywhere in that whole recipe manual, there could be a fault, there could be a little bit of a letter missing or deleted, or, swapped around, for example, or there could be an insertion. So it's really important to find out what the mutation is, because that is how you can get the right sort of treatment or clinical trial, because the treatments are mutation specific. There are some out there that are, applicable to all mutations. We can talk about that another time, but that is why it's so important. However, so the mutations like deletion or duplication, can be found relatively easily. They're bigger, but there are sometimes when you do these genetic tests, sometimes you actually can't find a mutation. So you can see all the clinical assessments and observations. You can see that there's the high CK level. You can see, the strength test results, etc. However, you cannot find anything wrong or any mutation in the dystrophin gene. Now that is because you can have another type of mutation, which is called point mutation. They're really or small deletions and insertions in the recipe manual, and this is why it's really important to fully characterize or sequence the whole gene of Duchenne muscular of dystrophin to find out where that needle in a haystack lies, and then that is what really helps you sort of look deeper into mutation specific treatments. Do you understand? So you have the bigger mutations like deletion or duplication, and then you can have really small ones that don't necessarily come up immediately in a genetic test. Not always, but we've heard of so many cases in our during our Science on Tour of families who didn't actually find any mutation in the dystrophin gene.
Yeah, that's so interesting what you're talking about, and the language you use. I like how you say the needle in a haystack. That's definitely, yeah. You sometimes you cannot find this mutation. There is just something I want to emphasize and to highlight, that even when you see that there is a lack of dystrophin in the muscle and the muscle biopsy has been performed, you still need to do the genetic testing. It's absolutely necessary. So the result of genetic testing provide the crucial clinical information for the genetic counseling, from the prenatal diagnosis, and potential mutation-specific therapy. So if genetic testing leads to the identification and characterization of a dystrophin mutation, further testing is not required. So that is very important to remember. Yeah,
no, that's absolutely true. So let me just get my head around it. So what you're saying is that even if you found a mutation in the muscle biopsy, let's say you do genetic testing and you can't find a mutation. So you say, okay, we're going to go down the muscle biopsy route. You find a mutation, but you don't stop there. You still have to confirm it at the genetic level. Is that correct?
Yes, exactly. And even if you perform the muscle biopsy first and you see that there is a lack of dystrophin or no dystrophin in the muscle, so that is the indication that you must suspect Duchenne muscular dystrophy, but the genetic testing is essential to confirm the diagnosis.
Oh yeah, absolutely. You have to find that needle in the haystack in the genetic testing. So,
exactly.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for explaining that, Sophia.
Here at Action Duchenne, we are committed to inform, but also support you through your Duchenne journey. If you'd like to talk about anything raised in this video, please feel free to contact us on 07535 498 506, or alternatively, email us at info@actionduchenne.org. Thank you.